It's mathematics. This is no longer your opinion or my opinion. I mean, 10 years ago, people could laugh at us and say, you two are idiots. But they can't do that now because it's math. You have governments officially telling you that they're on the ropes financially. I mean, the fact that the U.S. has to pay $1.5 trillion per year, and it will only go higher, $1.5 trillion this year, probably $2 trillion next year in interest alone. That is the U.S. government pulling their pants down and saying, "Look, we're bankrupt."
So we got the Fed coming up in September here, and we have Powell on his heels here by the looks of it, and saying, indicating he's going to cut rates. Should he be cutting rates?
I don't have a clue what he should or shouldn't do because it's the system itself that doesn't work. So, the guy who's steering the bus, it doesn't matter whether it turns left or right or whatever, the system itself mathematically cannot work. My biggest fear is that this month you will see a rate cut by the Fed and you get a dollar sell-off, which would make sense, and also a bond sell-off, which wouldn't make sense. That would illustrate a loss of control of the yield curve, loss of control of the credit market. I think it's because it just did happen. As I mentioned last year and a half ago, when the Fed was in the rate cutting cycle, yields actually went up by full percentage point when they cut rates by 1 full percentage point. What's it going to look like if the Fed cuts rates? Let's say they cut 50 basis points. And all of a sudden you see 30, 40, 50 basis point rise in treasury yields. Not the short end, but the long end. What does that say to the world?
Yeah, I think I read something on your website where you quoted, absolutely right on, saying that you were commenting that Trump now has the majority of the Federal Reserve Board, and you said bye-bye dollar. So but essentially that's what you're saying.
I did. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if you can, his mindset, and I mean, it's because the way the system is set up, and it goes back to Richard Russell's inflate or die. That's the way the system is set up. We can never have a 5-year, 10-year, 20-year period of time where asset prices stagnate or go down, because everything is based on credit. Everything is borrowed against, and lower markets means margin calls. Where does that margin call money come from? It's not available. So it's a margin call that can't be met, and everything's going to get sold. And of course, they've already planned for this by putting the laws on the books that David Rogers Webb exposed in The Great Taking. That's absolutely real. No speculation whatsoever. All those laws are on the books and the ink is dry. When the system goes down, you're going to lose whatever you have with your institution.
So when they break it again, but this time, as you say, mathematical death sentence is one of your comments. So when they break it, then, I mean, to me, this time I don't see any way of coming back.
They have to burn the whole thing down and start from scratch with a very limited use of credit.
So when they
and that credit can only, hey Andrew, that credit can't be fractional reserve credit. It's going to have to be credit that comes off of physical unencumbered assets and basically off of the value of gold. Whatever value of gold gets to, that's how much credit will be available, but no more. That's the way they need to rebuild the system.
So here we are, 54 years later, after Nixon decoupled.
Temporarily.
Yes, temporarily. But 54 years later, then we have China, whose yuan is actually one-to-one exchangeable with physical gold. Now, So you've kind of got this reversal where the dollar was once backed by gold and it's now worthless. And China, in their long thinking plan, has now successfully backed every single transaction that they do, commodity transaction, whatever it would be. So you can end up with a yuan for your oil, whatever it might be. And you can then say, I'll tell you what, I'll either hold that or I'll swap it for gold at that price. So to me, what a kind of a dynamic shift of power is right under our noses here.
It's awesome, the size and scope of what China has already done with accumulating gold, and their backing of, they don't back the currency with gold, but I guess you could say they de facto do, because you can take the currency and, like you said, exchange it into gold. That is awesome if you look at where the West was and where it is now. I mean, the West was similar to that. You were able to convert dollars or marks or whatever, pounds, into gold. And over the years, that ended. So now China's starting it on the other side of the world. And it'll probably work well for, I don't know, 10, 20, 30, maybe 50 years. But they'll end up having the same problem that the U.S. had with $35 gold and Charles de Gaulle coming in and saying, here's $35, give me an ounce of gold. Here's another $35, give me an ounce of gold. And my late partner, Jim Sinclair, was adamant that any gold-backed currency would not be convertible. And the reason it will not be convertible is because if it's convertible, it converts. And then the issuer ends up with no gold.
Well, Jim Sinclair, you were his advisor and partner for many, many, many years. And what a great pedigree. I mean, you must have valued those years enormously, Bill.
He was the black sheep. He was the black sheep of his family, because he was spilling the secrets that the families didn't want the public to know.
I remember reading your stuff. I mean, it must have been 30. I must be 30 years ago. I don't know. It's a long time ago. And you used to work with him. I met him, luckily, that one time physically at the GATA conference. And what a lovely man. I mean, what a humble, gentle man he was.
And smart. Super smart.
Super smart. Well, I mean, that certainly rubbed off on you there, Bill.
I learned a lot from him. Hopefully he learned a little bit from me.
Well, he'd be looking down, and I'm sure he's looking at your gold stash, and you're, no, don't come after Bill. He's got no gold at home. Not that you can find, anyway. Look, it's been such a buzz. I mean, basically, I think what we're saying here is really, and you say it multiple times. Has there ever been a better time to opt out of the debt-riddled fiat system and just swap some of that garbage for physical gold and silver? Is there ever a better time?
Well, actually, the answer to that is, yeah, the best time to have swapped out would have been for Americans. I mean, I can't say for foreigners, but for Americans, 1976, when gold became legal to own. That was a better time because you got more ounces for your dollar. Today's a better day than tomorrow, a better day than next week, a better day than next month, and a better day than next year. Because once this happens, once markets crack and they actually break and close, your access to funds will be gone. Your funds will be gone via the great taking. And there's nothing you can do about it at that point. Nobody's going to sell you an ounce of gold for however many dollars, or an ounce of silver or gold for however many dollars you have, because as the meme goes, they become on the metals chart or the periodic chart, they become unobtainium.
Absolutely. I mean, this is it. I mean, people are going to look at this and they'll say, you know what? I think what we're saying here, Bill, and it's kind of the common thread with all of these educational sessions, which they are, it's all about taking responsibility for our individual selves, and no one else is going to do it for you. It's so important, and when you have the knowledge, it's one thing to not have the knowledge and get caught out, and yes, it could be very dire. But when you have the knowledge, you need to act on it. And I think we've talked about stuff here. There are people who will be unable to do so, but there are many, many, many people that can make those changes, make those choices, investigate them before it is too late. And you did it. Why wouldn't anyone else? If you believe passionately in something, then you can make it happen.
Yeah, you can make it happen. I think the number of people, once this is in the rearview mirror, the amount of people that are going to say, how did I not see this coming? It was so obvious. I think those numbers are going to be huge.